Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to the webinar for the ICC Digital Codes Premium Software. My name is Phil Anthony. I'm with ICC as a digital code specialist, and we do these monthly webinars to give you an overview of the platform and the content that is on it. We will have time for Q&As. Probably the presentation will go just about 35 minutes or so, but we'll have time at the end to answer questions if you want to be unmuted at that point. But in the meantime, feel free to post any questions that you have in the chat box, and I'll pause every once in a while to check those and answer questions if they're pertinent to the topic we're on. So feel free to use that, and we shall begin. All right, regarding the Digital Codes Premium platform, in the past, people would only access building codes and standards using printed materials and PDFs. And with Digital Codes Premium, which I may refer to as DCP from here on out, we've moved past those limitations of having content just on paper. With the DCP software, people are now able to access codes everywhere. The information is always up to date, and you can easily collaborate with your team members and clients. And on this slide here, showing some of the features that are on the Digital Codes Premium when you subscribe and have a license. And we'll go through each of these, and I'll give an example of them. But on the Digital Codes Premium Complete package, you can see that we have 1,400 codes and standards titles on there. These will be I-codes, code interpretations. We even get into the revision history, significant changes, and the code development process. You'll be able to copy, paste, highlight, organize notes, bookmark certain sections, so you're able to view those or share with your colleagues. And then obviously when we have everything digitized, you're going to have access to easy access to previous cycles of the I-codes. Everything is always up to date as new versions are released. Those will be automatically placed into your account, into your license. So you'll always have access to the most updated content. You can see at the bottom of this page, there is a 14-day free trial. If you haven't subscribed to that, you might want to do that after this. It is for the complete, so you'll be able to view all the content that we have in there, and it truly is free. There's no credit card needed to register. Use it for 2 weeks. Get your team members to try it out at the same time so you can see which package and how many licenses you may need for your organizations that would work best. You do have the ability to assign license to be dedicated to people, or if you're collaborating in a group, you can share licenses that you acquire. You just put them into, we call it a shared concurrent group, and then multiple people can access that license. For example, if you have one license is in there, you could give that group name to 5 people, and they all could have access to the content. Only limitation would just be 1 at a time, because that's the total number of licenses that you have in there. So when we say Digital Codes Premium, that is not a level of license or content. Digital Codes Premium just means that you are on the platform with the license that unlocks all those features that we showed on those previous slides. When you have a DCP license, you can choose from a single, as you see there, which, for example, would be the International Building Code, or you could get a collection. In the same example would be the I-code collection, the 15 I-codes. Not only does it have that current cycle included in it, but also previous cycles if you need to reference those as well too. And then the third, and there's multiple types of collections, and you can see those in the store. But then the final one would be the Digital Codes Premium Complete. Now, we started out naming it Complete because it included all the I-codes and content and everything that we had published from ICC, but as we began to expand content on the platform, it does include other titles from SDOs, organizations you can see here. A lot of these are included at no cost in the complete. We are adding more that will be an optional add-on, but you'll be able to go through here, excuse me, or be able to view in your free trial which codes are available there and see which ones you may want to add on as an optional purchase. So here is where we have the pricing, and as I can see, looks like I have to update this slide. There was a slight price increase of 10% on March 1st. But as you can see here, singles will vary in price. The collections also vary in price depending on which collection. And then once again, the best value for those 1,400 plus titles would be the Digital Codes Premium Complete. And when you go to register, you'll see that we do offer, there's actually 3 discounts available. If you are an ICC member, you will receive discounted pricing. It's easy to become a member, whether you're part of a jurisdiction or just want to get a single membership. You're able to do that, and that will unlock the membership savings. As you can also see here, there's a quantity discount tier. We try to put these at a lower discount quantity, lower license quantities, so the discount's easier to apply. So, just be aware of those. If you're getting 4 licenses, it may be just a little bit more to have the use of 5 licenses. So, and then the third discount would be the length of the plan that you choose. You can do monthly. There is the annual one, and then if you do a 3-year plan, it does reduce the price significantly as well, too. I will also mention that we do have a platform called DCP Enterprise for larger organizations where it has some more administrative features. So this enterprise platform looks and feels just like the regular DCP licenses that you can share, just that on the enterprise, these are dedicated seats. So you have the ability as an administrator to upload, 20, 50, 100 names in a file in there with their email address for easy onboarding. There's a little bit more dashboard reporting on user activity. And this is an option, and it's something that if you want to contact me after and hear more about that, I would be glad to explain it. But what I will do now is go to our website. And let me first see if anyone is chatting yet. No one's posted a question yet. So as I said, as I'm going through this, feel free to post any questions that you have in the chat, and I will address those. So the digital codes reside, here, let me sign out just to show you. Reside at codes.iccsafe.org. Reason I'm signing out is just to show you a couple things as I'm signed out. If you scroll down and you're not signed in, you don't have a license, there is the 14-day free trial. As mentioned, like I said, you can automatically set up an account, just verify your account. There's no credit card needed, so it really is free. And if I go back to the home page, I guess just as a note, if you may have come to this page in the past, but as you can see, the iCodes are available, and here we go with all the previous cycles. I'll select 18. So we do, as a public service, allow people to access codes in a view only. So as you can see, I can still scroll through and open up different code sections, but none of the features are open. While I'm here, though, I guess let me point this out. I was talking about how you can easily have all your updates automatically loaded. For example, for the IBC in this first version, in 2018 cycle, their first version was released in August of 2017. And if you got a print version of that or the PDF, you can see that during that code cycle, there was actually 6 different versions. So instead of having to update paper or PDFs, when you have access to digital codes, all these versions will be on there and available as they are digitized. So as I sign in, you'll notice that when I hit the enter button, it's going to change up here. It'll show my name. It will show the licenses that I have acquired. In this case, I do have the complete license. And over here, you can see that digital codes square icon. It used to just read digital codes only. Now it shows premium. So that shows that we have unlocked these features, and that is what I will go through now. So just keep it on the same page I started with. First thing maybe you'll notice is the blue print here. There's a legend for any types of icons or different things you may come across if you're not sure what they mean. For example, the blue text will indicate that this was a change in that code section from the previous cycle of the iCodes. We also do have worked with states who have contracted back with us to produce their amended codes. And for example, if the California Building Code has been amended from the iCodes, those changes will be in red text. And then there's also city and local amendments that we have types for as well too. Here's just some other notes that will indicate, what different icons are. These are the features that I will be going over on a code section here next. And then I'll briefly explain these and show you an example as they come up on the different chapters. But these icons will be at the start of a chapter or code section. The ES icon is for evaluation services. And what this indicates is that there is a report from the ICC evaluation services of products that relate to that particular code section. So you can open that in a PDF view to view any of those evaluation services reports on those products. The red errata icon is pretty self-explanatory. Any errata that occurred there would be broken out, and you can view that there. And then the orange or gold additional premium material can have quite a few different things in there. Most common would be the significant changes, code interpretations. There's also, for example, hearing videos of which is the last icon here, that blue one, of the code development process. So as the cycles of iCodes are being reviewed, there are people who are proposing changes to it, and those changes will be, those proposals will be available there in any code section where there was a proposal to change, and you can read those in its entirety as well too. And since I'm on here and scrolling through, here's an example of what it would look like if I just popped into this title and saw a note. If you have an individual license, it would only be you that created the notes. But as I mentioned, if you put these in collaborative shared groups, everyone has the ability to post and edit their own notes and view everyone else's. So here's an example of where I highlighted a section and created a note in here as I'm scrolling through, and there's another note. Let me pull up another section so I can show you how that works here. So on the side of the code sections, you'll see that this waffle icon here opens up those 4 individual icons in there, which these first 2 will create a note, just like you saw me had done before in those other code sections above. If you saw some of them left a highlight on them, if you left a highlight and then use this highlight icon, then the highlight will be kept there. If I don't want it highlighted, I can just click the bookmark, and this is the exact same text box that opens up, whether you choose to have it highlighted or just a bookmark. And what you can do in here is create your custom notes. It has, a list where you can create, bulleted lists and things like that. It has an extensive text editor where you could, use cross out bold. You can even attach media, pictures, links to websites and things like that as well too. As you create a note, you could make a project tag for it. Project tag is just a simple way to organize notes. As you begin to start to have hundreds or thousands, you may want to have them organized. So any note, you can always create a new tag by opening that. But any tag that was created by you before, or if you're in a shared group by someone else, you would have the ability to choose from those as well too. So if I choose that, then that will then save that under that project tag, and I'll show you where you can access that next. And there it is. There's a note I created. That has the project tag there. It has those custom notes there as well too. And as you can see, the bookmark is filled in, so I can access this note from other areas as well too, which I'll show you where you can use those in the next segment. You can also share this code section. Now, if you use this share link and email generator here, it does come from ICC support. So if they're not expecting an email from us, you can just copy it. Most people do. As you can see, it just copies that link to the clipboard. Now, where this is convenient is, you'll have the DCP license where you can, make notes and do these share links. But as you share that link, what it does is takes that exact URL that you see in the browser bar, and when you send that to someone, even if they don't have access or a Digital Codes premium license, it will take them to that exact section that you're referencing. So it's kind of nice. They don't have to search for it. It'll open up right here. They obviously will not see your, personal notes, but they can view the code section that you're referencing and any of the code sections surrounding it, which may be relevant as well. So it just makes it really easy to share those links with people who may be stopping by your office, or, they don't have to come in and get a copy out of the code book. You can just direct them there. Final icon is a print icon. Now, you do have the ability to print. Can't obviously print the entire book or the chapter, but you can print any code section. And if it has subsections, it will offer that option there. And what you do when you select that, obviously you can send it to print as an option. But as you can see, it formatted it really nice. It has the footer there, so people know it comes from the authoritative source. So you can send it to print, or if you do want to have like a PDF file, as you can see, I have Adobe, so I could download this code section to my desktop and mark it up with a PDF editor. So while some people, still have a desire to have PDFs, unless if, you need a whole PDF version attached to one computer or on a network drive, this really does almost solve um, that desire to have PDF markups, because most people only really want to have that for code sections anyways, not the entire books. Continuing on with the notes. So over here in the code sections index here, this My Notes will then pop open, and here is an example of every note that was created in this title would be available here. So I could click on it. As you can see, it's a hyperlink. It'll go right to those sections. Here's where I was talking about if you have hundreds of notes and you just want to narrow it down to just to view those notes, you can do that and then be able to jump to those. And then also, as I finish up the discussion on the notes here, part of the premium tools, this is where you have some administrative toolbars. But if I go to My Notes and Bookmarks, so here is a list of every note that I created and all my titles on my license. Once again, if I wanted to sort them, I could do a search by using the project tag. But let me just go scroll through here and find, for example, here's my 2021 IRC. So let me expand that out. Shows I have 6 notes in there. You see it says you can create a PDF. If you wanted to create a PDF of your notes across multiple titles, you are able to do that. But when the next code cycle comes out, which, this is IRC 2021 as an example, so we're going to start releasing our versions of 2024 in the next month over the of the first few titles, and then the rest will come out by the end of the year. But as 2024 IRC comes out, if I want to migrate all these notes here, I'll have that ability to easily do that with just a click of a couple of buttons. If you choose to move them all, it would delete them from the source, move them out of there and just put them in 2024. But you also have the option of being able to clone them, which would leave a copy in both titles. So what this will do is take all the notes you've made in 2021 IRC, and then you can move them into the 2024 when it's available, and they will all be attached to the correct code section, even if the code section number or subsection or chapter has changed slightly. It knows where to attach the content, so it is correctly placed. Next thing I'll show you is the advanced search functionality. Actually, just as an example, let me go back to the iCodes and select one title. If you are in a title, as you can see at the top as I click in the search bar there, it does say search across the 2021 IBC. So if I put my search in there now, it will just search through that one title. I'm going to go through everything on the left here, but what it did is it pre-selected all those ways to narrow it down just to the 2021 IBC so you can get those results that way, which is the way I think you'll probably search most of the time, but however, you do have the ability to search across the entire library. So let me just go to the home. So if I'm starting here, you can see it search across your entire library of whatever titles you have a license to. And obviously, you'll probably know that means of egress returns quite a bit of results, almost 33,000. But here's where you can refine your results here. Probably the first one you go through is categories. I'll select iCodes. But instead of that, you could have searched, there's the California codes or any of these other categories that you might want to go to, but I'll leave it on iCodes and it brings it down to just about 2,500. Then you'd be able to search the title years, and that would narrow it down just to the 2021 iCode. So down to a more reasonable number of 683, but here's where I was showing you, yes, then you have the ability, you could just search from a few of those books or a single one, and then you are even able to drill down as far as figures, tables, equations, however narrow you want to get to it. But just using this for an example with my 683 results, you can expand this out to see where the results are coming from. Kind of nice. It has an overview of the code section, briefly describing it. You can see that one's from the IEBC, this one's from the IBC, IFC, so you can kind of get a large overview of where the results are coming from, and you can jump in at the top of the title, top of the chapter, or right at the section or subsection, and it opens up in a new tab. Kind of nice, so you still have your original search results here. If this is a search that you use frequently, you could save it and access it through your dashboard. Let me clear these results here and then show you also on this page something called the advanced term search. Probably familiar already with being able to search by using exact phrases, all, any, or none. We also added this near-term search. So using the same example, if I put egress in there and then select basement and do this advanced term search, what that does is look for those two terms they enter in there where they occur within 50 words of each other in a code section. So you can narrow it down to be more specific. I can choose window for that. So just another way, when you probably understand this already, when everything's digitized, makes it really easy to update content and makes it really easy to search for content. All right, pausing to see if anyone has asked any questions. No one has yet. So once again, feel free to post questions as I continue on here. Next, I'll go through each of these tiles on the home page. This is a list of our content. iCode's pretty self-explanatory. As mentioned, there's the previous codes, and as 2024 comes out, those will all be updated. We do have many standards and continue to add many more. So what we have listed here are all the standards that would be referenced in the iCodes and some others as well too. There's different levels of access to these. Sometimes if it accesses, I guess let me use NFPA for an example. Now NFPA has their own platform and they don't license the electronic versions to be used in other ones, but if it's referenced, it will tell you which standard was referenced, and then you can go to that website to look it up. We have other ones like ASTM. Let me pop that up since that was added recently, just about 6 months ago. We do have all 525 ASTM standards in here that are referenced in the 2021 iCodes. And in this situation, I can open this and you'll notice that it doesn't have the premium features like copy paste or making notes. That's just the way ASTM decides to license their content. But as you can see, it is referenced in its entirety, so you can view any of that of the ASTM titles. The other one I'll mention, for example, are the ASHRAE standards. As I said, as we continue to increase the number of titles in complete, we're able to do a lot of them at no extra charge to the person that purchases complete. But then there's other things like the ASHRAE standards, which we do have available that can be added as a separate license. But just wanted to point that out to you. And if you're interested to see, we have a search feature on Premium Complete that shows you where you can find and search for the different titles that are included and what format they are in. Locations. We do have international locations listed on here too. This is also where I was mentioning the custom local codes. Before I go to a custom local code, let me go here to Hawaii as an example. Hawaii has not asked us to produce their digital and printed amended code. They just post it to their own state website. But from here, you can see that they are on the 18 cycle. Using a different example, for example, larger states like New York, Florida, California, they have contracted back with ICC to produce their amended code. So once again, here you see 2022 is the current cycle, but we have the previous ones as well. And if I were to open up, let's do the building code. If I see, well, pick maybe the right one, this is where we can have, there we go. So there's an example of the red text. So any part in the California or New York or Florida that's in red text would show where it differs from the I codes and where they put in that additional information. But once again, you can see here, like for example, California, you can work with individual homeowners, have access to this, and you as a license holder still have all those same features, premium features that I was showing you with the other titles. Going to the next box, the commentaries. And as mentioned, with the pricing, I always recommend to look at the Digital Codes Premium Complete first because it includes the most content. Obviously, there's some titles. If you're in California, you may not care about the New York titles, but it's nice to have all this. And if you start adding up multiple single titles or multiple collections, you're probably getting into what the price is for complete, which we tried to make, as low as we could. And commentaries is an example of that. So if you're looking to add the commentaries in, you're probably looking at getting complete for your best value. But I will point this out when we're looking at the commentaries, it's the code and commentary together. So if I open up a code chapter here, and I don't know if you're familiar with the commentaries, but as you can see, I can hide or show. So in this example, I'm looking at the IBC code without the commentary. So if you're familiar with it and you like scrolling through it that way, you can. When you get to a section where you want to see the commentary, I can turn that on. And then those diamond sections would be the commentary part of the IBC. And the nice feature here is that you still, yes, have all the ability to make notes and everything. Since commentaries are not available in the free basic view on our website, you do have the ability to copy and paste if you're communicating, with a homeowner or something where you need to have access to the commentaries and be able to use that in any email or Word document that you're using. The resource category contains, as you can see, several different types of titles. Significant changes, revision history are probably the most popular ones here. I will also mention if you have anyone in your organization studying for an exams, we have added both the study companions and the flashcards. And I'll make a announcement here that is getting ready to be announced if you're using the Pronto system to take any exams. Soon they're going to make an announcement that you have the ability to use digital codes rather than buying a book. You'll still be, if you got a book, they'll still allow the printed copy in there, but for people who may only have use for the book just for that one time and they have a digital codes complete license, you can be using this to study for the exams. And then when you're in the Pronto environment, it'll pop up. You'll have access to the digital codes, not the premium, so you can't access your notes and all that or the advanced search, but you'll have the familiarity with navigating, the code index and finding codes, and you can use that in the exams. Topics, just kind of a way to organize some of the other things here where we have our PMG, plumbing, mechanical, and gas. Those titles will be in there. And then the next one, publishers, some of these would be included with complete. Some of them, like the Wiley publications, are available to add on as an additional feature. And then collections I mentioned. The most popular one would be Premium Complete. Energy Collection does contain the ASHRAE titles that I'd mentioned, but here's also, the California titles, then of course the I codes and the custom state titles as well too. All right, just checking the chat button. I don't see anyone has any questions yet, so I will circle around to describe. Well, let me first start off with how you can share the licenses as well too. So as mentioned, you can have licenses, as many that as you acquire. There's the discount if you're getting multiple license, and all licenses start as individual licenses. But if you want to share it among your group of people in the office, let's just use the example of 20 people that need access to the codes. You could acquire, let's say, 5 licenses for that group. And when my conversations with different organizations and jurisdictions, it seems like a 1-to-4 ratio from licenses to users is probably the minimum you want to start off with, because it is going to be a shared group. But using that same example, you could acquire 5 licenses, put them all into a shared concurrent group. You can give that group name to those 20 people. And you don't share account login. Everyone creates their own account. It is free to do that. So for example, if I log in and wanted to enter into a concurrent group, once it shows my name there, I won't have any of those gold icons because I don't have my own license. Like I said, I'm entering in a shared group. I would just choose the concurrent access, and the code that was given to me by the administrator, the name of the group, you would enter there, just so you know that once you enter the code there, if you're accessing it in subsequent times, it will show you that code is being previously used, and you can enter there. And what you'll see is that my name has changed to the name of the group. So that shows I'm using that one particular license. So in the example of 5 licenses for 20 people, the first 5 people in that morning would have access and would be able to get in. The 6th person would have a notification stating that all licenses are currently being used, so they wouldn't be able to access it. But as someone leaves, we are updating these boards here to make it a little bit easier to clear or to view all this, and this should be done in the next month. But there'll be a way to leave the group immediately. So when I click there, you can see the group name has changed back to my name, so that indicates that I have released that license and other people can get in. There is an auto logout feature. If someone is using a license in a shared group and is inactive in the platform for 20 minutes, it'll automatically log them out so they are not monopolizing a license while they're at lunch or on their 3-day weekend. All right, I will finish up here in about 5 minutes. So if you got questions, feel free to post them, or I'll open up the mics at the end. Just going through the menu board here to explain everything that you may come across on your platform. These actually are all just duplicative of what you see on the front page, just another way to access them. I'll come to premium tools here next, but favorites are also available here. Anything that you favorited by filling in the heart on the title is accessible both there and on your dashboards. Premium features just kind of goes over what I have done at the beginning of the webinar. Testimonials and webinars list. Like I said, we do these monthly. Starting this year, we're going to start adding some new topics each month. But as stated, this is just like a general overview of the platform to answer those questions and introduce it to you. At the end here, feel free, I'll put my email address up if you got specific questions or you want to set up a custom demo for your group, we can do that. And then we have the Revit add-in for any of the firms that use that software. Going back to the premium tools, most of these are pretty self-explanatory, like my library. Let me click on it here just to show you. This will show you where you can search for those titles right here from your My Library page. Sometimes if you don't see a title, you might want to sync it up, especially if we're adding new ones. But here's viewing the entire library. So I do have, yeah, over 1,400 titles in there. You also have the ability to go back to Premium Tools, Quick Access. You are able to here's a keeping the recently, even drills down to the recently sections that you viewed. And then going here, the project tags I kind of spoke about. I didn't show you this screen. This is where you would be able to either delete an entire, project tag group or edit the name of them. And the notes and bookmarks we had spoken about, and I showed you that process as well. And then license configuration, for the administrator that actually acquires the licenses, this is where this would be done. There is a pretty good tour here. If you want to go through it, it can tell you how you can assign the license either for your own personal use, assign to someone where it's dedicated, or you can put it into a concurrent group. And as mentioned, if you need help with this for your organizations, I would be glad to get on a call and do a screen share with you as well too. So circling back to the main homepage, as promised, I finished in about 35 minutes. I do not see anyone that has asked a question yet. So I will pose, if someone wants to ask a question out loud, go ahead and raise your hand and I'll monitor that. But like I said, this was just intended as a general overview at the beginning, to get you started. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat or raise your hand and I will unmute you to ask the question in front of everyone. Circling back, I will post this in the website, in the chat. Let me post this in chat. Whoops. There we go. Just because I mentioned this previously, this is where we list, close down all these WebEx windows now, where we list all the different titles. So as you can see here, we just added a few more titles this week, so it looks like. So that is a dynamic counter. As we add more titles, those will be available and put right into Premium Complete. For example, if you were looking for a title that wasn't in there, show that there's no matching records found, but any other title or series that you may be looking for, you can post in there and see if they are available. And then if you scroll down on the right, this is where these available add-on titles that are not included with Complete, but they are digitized and can be put on the platform with the special license within a separate license for any of those titles or the collections that are listed there as well. Someone asked how you can get a code interpretation. That actually is a question of membership. Let's see, let me pull that up just since someone asked that. I don't work in the membership area, but I do know what you're asking about. Here's the membership information as well too. So if you're part of a jurisdiction, there's different levels depending on the size. If you're a corporation, you can choose that as well too. In these levels, you can contact the ICC for code interpretation. There's also individual memberships. Like I said, if you're not interested in like the code interpretations or any of the other benefits, just getting this $60 participating member pays for any license that you get on the DCP platform because of, for only for $60, you probably save hundreds of dollars. And going through codes and standards, I think this is where they ask, whoops. There's your code interpretations. So if you are a member and you've paid your annual membership, here's where you can request a code, opinion, or interpretation. I do appreciate the question, though. I know it's not in DCP, but at least I got one question. So what I will do is I will end the recording here. I'll stay on. If people got specific questions, maybe you just didn't want to talk while we were recording, but I appreciate everyone attending. Feel free to contact me. Let me put this up again for my contact information, and I'll leave this here for now and stop the recording. But I will hang out here if anyone's got any specific questions. So recording is being stopped. Thank you for attending.